The International Exposition Center was built in 1942 by the General Services Administration of the United States government to build B-29 bombers. It was utilized in the Second World War, and it was utilized again to build airplane parts and tank parts for the Korean War. In 1977, it was a manufacturing facility, and it was purchased by the Park Corporation, the owners that own the IX Center today. It's been completely renovated and rejuvenated into a premier exhibition hall, probably one of the leading exhibit halls in the entire country. Well, it was a manufacturing facility, completely different than it is today. There's been a lot of changes done to the IX Center. The ground was lower. I mean, everything from rebuilding the area, we put in all the roads. There's all a new facade on the building, and it's been all refinished, and new ceilings, new floors. We poured, hundreds of thousands of pounds of concrete. Everything has basically been rebuilt. But what is so beautiful about the IX Center is it could not be rebuilt today for probably less than $1 billion. It is phenomenally large. It is in the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest single building exposition facility in the entire world, with 2.5 million square feet of space. That is larger than most malls, just for people to get an idea of how big it is. And the beauty of it is that it has such huge masses of space all in one area. Our main exhibit hall is 800,000 square feet. So when people come to our center, for instance, the boat show that is happening right now, they're seeing 800,000 square feet on one floor and one level in one big area. And we even have there's a bay that is almost 200,000 square feet, which is column-free. So the center is pretty phenomenal in the extent that the dimensions are huge. The ceiling height is up to 80 feet tall. The columns are few and far between. So the building is basically kind of an empty blackboard for whatever event wants to come in and utilize it. So the center is pretty phenomenal in that respect, and the dimensions and its capabilities for housing the biggest shows in the entire world.
It's been a big, took a lot of ingenuity to think that a former bomb plant or an airplane manufacturer could be an entertainment center.
Actually, as I mentioned, Park Corporation, which is a privately owned company, the CEO is Ray Park, and the president of the IX Center now is his son, Pat Park. They had a lot of foresight. They probably had more foresight into the renaissance of Cleveland than most Clevelanders did at the time, seeing that they purchased this facility in 1977 and completely rebuilt it to become one of the leading exhibit halls in the country. That was a lot of foresight. That was genius, basically. There are cities around the country that are building these exhibit centers to draw attractions and conventions and special events to their city, which helps the entire area economically. They saw this. They saw that this was happening around the world, and they were one of the first companies in Cleveland to really invest their money in Cleveland to make Cleveland, improve dramatically. The building was renovated, and all the rejuvenation and the rebuilding, etc., and the modernization took until we opened in 1985. And we opened with a major event called the Capital Goods Trade Fair in October of 1985. And just to give you an idea of how much we've grown, in that year, 1985, and our opening, we had one event, the event that we sponsored and put on ourselves. In 1990, the calendar year, we had over 100 shows, conventions, and special events in our building that occupied about 250 show days for the entire year. So we've grown dramatically. 1.5 million people pass through the IX Center to attend some of the events that happen yearly. So taking a manufacturing facility, as we discussed, and turning it into an exhibit facility that now attracts over 1.5 million people a year, a lot of major shows, and we're now starting to attract some of the big, large conventions. Of course, we bid for the Republican and the Democratic convention this year in Cleveland. So we have become a major landmark in the area for attracting national convention and trade business into the Cleveland area. So it has a big economic impact.